Well, I got some capacitors in. One of these is for the Climatrol air conditioner. One is for the 8000 BTU fetters. One is for the Quasar. And then one of these was for this Emerson Quiet Cool. But I ended up taking that fan motor out that required that capacitor. It's that GE motor that I had swapped into it. And I put the original motor back in this. So I don't need to use that capacitor because that fan motor that's in it right now that I put back in it does not have the same microfarad rating as this one does. So we won't be using one of these right now, but the rest of them we are going to use. And I like to get these Titan HD capacitors because they are made in USA. One of the few USA made capacitors still out there. This one is for the 8000 BTU fetters to 40 and 7.5 microfarad. This is the one that I'm not going to be using. This would have been for the Emerson Quiet Cool with that other motor. And this one is for the Quasar. It's just a 2-terminal 40 microfarad. And this one is for the Climatrol. It's a 30 and 10 microfarad. So I'm going to start with the Quasar, because that's the one that's down here right now. Here's the old one. I'm going to disconnect it. Obviously, make sure the air conditioner is not plugged in when you're doing this. And you might want to use a screwdriver to discharge the capacitor so you don't get a shock. And remember where the wires go so you don't have to look at the wiring diagram. Got the new one hooked up now. Just to mount it, there's a strap down in there that holds it. New capacitor is in place. There is an opening on the side, and that's how you access the screw for that strap that holds the capacitor in there. Sorry about the lighting. Alright, got the control panel back where it's supposed to be. Let me try starting it before I push it all the way back in the case just to make sure everything's good. Compressor started up without a problem. Yeah, sounds fine. So, yeah, pretty much place the capacitor in this Quasar. All you need to do is remove this control panel box, and pretty straightforward. And here is the original capacitor, made in Japan. Here is the 8000 BTU Climatrol. I'm going to put the new capacitor in it right now. The front cover is pretty easy to take off on this one. It just clips in, and I'll show you what we have to do after I get the front cover off. Alright, now I'm going to take these control knobs off of here. This one is for the vent. I'll actually take that one off last. And we have to unscrew this panel here. Alright, got the 3 screws out that I need to get out, and now this will move out of the way, hopefully. There we go. And there is the capacitor. The screw holding the strap on is right there. You can sort of see it through those loops. Alright, there is actually a screw on both sides of the strap. Let me see if I can get a good look at it. There's one on that side and one on that side. This one is much easier to get to, so that's the one I'm going to take off. Here's the old one out, and then here's the new one. This one's shorter, but it's the same diameter. Be sure to keep track of where the wires go. Alright, got all the wires hooked up to the terminals. So I'm going to go ahead and clean it up a little bit, then test it out and make sure everything's working properly. Got the new capacitor in place and it's strapped down. So now I'm going to put the cover back on and we'll test it out. Alright, let's give it a test. Pressure started right up. Seems to be running just fine. Now I'm going to install the new capacitor on this 8000 BTU fetters. These are pretty easy to access the capacitors on. All you have to do is unscrew the control panel, and then you can get to the capacitor. That's the strap for it right there. I got all the wires hooked up correctly. I did have to look at the wiring diagram right here, just because I didn't remember exactly where the wires were since I took this capacitor out a few days ago, or the original one out a few days ago. So let's tighten it up. And the capacitor is now strapped down, so we can put the cover back on and test it. Got it all put back together and plugged in. Let's give it a test. I don't know if the compressor is going to start, but if it doesn't, I'll put a heater in front of it and get it to start. It did. Seems to be running pretty good. That door vibrates sometimes. I think it's safe to say this is a good capacitor that I just put in here, because the compressor shut off and I was able to get it to start back up in, I don't know, probably about 30 seconds. I had to put the heater by it. So yeah, that's definitely working pretty well. It sounds real good. Let it run a little longer. I plan on using this air conditioner a lot more next summer, so I'm glad I replaced the capacitor. Well, I haven't noticed any tone change of the compressor, so I think we're probably good.